Buenas tardes, hello, and welcome to tonight's Central American cooking class. I'm going to be your host tonight. My name is Bernie Molina. And before I get into what I've got going on here, let me just tell you a little bit about myself. So that's not like a stranger talking to you for a whole hour. Like I said, my name is Bernie Molina, and I am half Mexican American, half Salvadorian American. And I grew up in Southeast Los Angeles. So I grew up going to Northgate. You already know how it is. And this, what I like to call Salvi Mex upbringing in Southeast Los Angeles, inspired my cookbook, Herencia Cookbook. And in my cookbook, you'll find recipes that are Mexican, that are Salvadorian, some that are Salvi Mex fusion. And so I'm really excited to be talking to you tonight about all of these Central American recipes because it's a big part of my life. You know, my cookbook was inspired not just by my own cooking and what I've learned, but from my great-grandmother and my grandmother, who are Mexican, or were, are not with us anymore, and from my mom and my suegra, who are Salvadorian American. So let me tell you, my mom and my suegra, they taught me how to cook. You know, I'm a señora casada, right? Estoy lista para casarme, ya me casé. So all of the tips that they've been giving me over the years, I'm super excited to share with you tonight, especially for a dish like tamales. Tamales salvadoreños can be a bit intimidating, but I got you. All right? And now that I gave one away, I'll tell you what we'll be going over. So tonight, I'm going to teach you how to make Salvadoran tamales. I'm going to teach you how to make an ensalada navideña, which is sort of like an ambrosia salad. And I'm going to teach you how to make ponche de leche. So for those of you who like eggnog, I got you. And like I said, I'm really excited to teach you these recipes because these are recipes that I grew up with. The ensalada navideña, the ambrosia salad, I remember my mom making it all the time when I was growing up. And, you know, last Christmas, I got to host Christmas at my home. Well, Christmas Eve, because let's be honest, we Latinos celebrate on the 24th. And my mom brought this ensalada navideña that I'm going to teach you how to make tonight. And it just felt so good to keep these recipes going on, like the baton or the torch was passed on. You know what I'm saying? So I'll talk a little bit about the recipes as we get to them. We're going to go through each segment. We have an hour tonight, so we'll spend about 15 minutes on each one. But what I kind of want to set us up for right now, like I said, is to tell you a little bit about me and let you know that when I wrote my cookbook, and this was before I became an instructor for Northgate markets, all of the ingredients for all 65 recipes in my book, I purchased at Northgate markets. And this was authentic. This was to my heart because you have some really diverse recipes both in the book and both that we're going to be going over tonight. And, you know, whether you're a new mom, a working mom, whether it's just the holidays and it's crazy, you just want to get things done because there's a lot to do. Most people don't have time to go to one store for fish, one store for meat, one store for organic produce, another store for Mexican spices, another store for Central American spices. I love Northgate because they have everything I need in one stop. So like I said, I grew up in Southeast Los Angeles, so I typically go to the Norwalk store. So if you see me, holler at your girl. But like I said, I'm a new mom, so my mom's watching my son tonight, and I'm over here in Riverside hanging out with her. And I got to go to the Northgate Market in Riverside, and wow, it is so nice. I saw like the Central American aisle when I got there, saw all the flags, and I'm like, do I need to start singing the Salvadoran national anthem right now? Like, what? And you know, I got so excited that I'm gonna admit it, I'm gonna be real with y'all, I actually forgot an ingredient or two. But guess what? Northgate is on Instacart and they're also with Shipt. So I just Instacarted whatever I needed and it was no big deal. So if there's that last minute ingredient that you need for your tamales, for your ponche de leche, for your ensalada navideña, for whatever it is that you're making, you can Instacart it. It's no big deal. So that's a big relief, right? And like I said, I'm really excited to be here with you tonight, and I'm really thankful for you all to be spending this time with me tonight. And before we get into each of the recipes, are there any questions?
Actually, we do have a question. We have somebody who pre-made her masa and filling and wants to know how long she could keep it refrigerated before she assembles the tamales.
That's a great question. So if you like pre-made your chicken and this salsa that we're going to put on top of it, you're good with that. With the masa, it's going to be more spreadable if it's warm. So you want to use that sooner than later. For instance, I made this masa about an hour ahead of time. So, and it's already starting to, you know, you want it as warm as possible. So you can always warm it back up. You can keep it in the pot where you made it. But the thing with Salvadorian tamales, the masa is pre-cooked, right? And when you're cooking it, you have to be constantly stirring it so that you get that texture that you want. So I would say sooner is better than later with that. As soon as you can use it is great. And you want it warm for sure. So you can always reheat it as well. Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
No, go ahead. Let's start.
All right. Okay, cool. So like I said, the first recipe we're going to get into is Salvadorian tamales. Cool. So with Salvadorian tamales, I'm going to kind of go over the elements of the dish first. So what you have is a banana leaf. And in this banana leaf, you're going to put your masa, which, like I said, is cooked. And then with that, you're going to have the different elements. So you have cooked shredded chicken. You have garbanzo beans, olives. I'm so tempted to eat one right now, but I'm just going to focus and eat at the end of class. Now, here I have potatoes that I've peeled and sliced, and I have them in cool water to prevent oxidation. And you also have the salsa. So these are all the elements that go into assembling the tamal, okay? Now, what I'm going to talk you through is first how we prepare the chicken and how we prepare the salsa, because those are two important, very important parts. And then we'll talk about how to prepare the masa. So what you want to do is we're going to you could say poach the chicken. You can, you could say poach or boil it because we want that chicken broth because we're going to add that to the masa later. What I love to use so that my broth is more flavorful and more nutritious actually is chicken with bones. So you can use thighs, you can use my suegra, like if we make tamales for a lot of people during the holidays, we'll use a whole chicken. You can also use the chicken breast with the rib bones in it. That's personally my favorite because then you have that white meat that you can put into the tamal after. It's really your preference. Some people use chicken legs. I mean, those bones are great. So whatever chicken you want to use, just make sure that you have bones in there so that you have a really tasty, flavorful, savory broth afterwards. Now, the way you're going to prepare the chicken, of course, you're going to rinse it and do all that stuff that you need to do to chicken before you cook it. And you're going to use fresh parsley. Look at that. Not cilantro, people. Parsley. Oh, it smells so good. I'm going to use a celery stalk. No need to chop this up because you're going to have it in the water where you're going to cook the chicken to give it flavor. So there's no need to chop it up because once you're done boiling this, we're just going to take it out. We're not going to use this later. I'm going to have 4 garlic cloves. Don't mind me. I really love food. You're going to use half an onion. And then here you have your herbs. So I have Mexican oregano here, Latin oregano here, and some thyme. Can't run out of time here. And so you're going to put all this in the broth. You can also use 4 cubitos of the nor or 4 spoonfuls of nor, chicken flavored, because we're cooking with chicken. And then you're going to bring all that to a boil, put the chicken in there, and cook it for as long as necessary. Now, use your judgment. If it's quite a thick piece of breast, it may take longer to cook it. So you really want to make sure that it's evenly cooked throughout. And then you're going to set all that aside to cool. You can strain the liquid with a colander, with a colador. And then once the chicken is cool enough to handle, you're going to shred it like this. Can you all see that? There's still some pieces of parsley in here. It's so good. And so, like I said, you're going to reserve the broth so that we can add that to the masa. And then we're going to set the chicken to the side to put into the tamal later. So that's how you prepare the chicken. Okay, now for this beautiful savory salsa here, do you see that? This is what we're going to use. I'm going to talk you through that now. So you have, again, half an onion, 3 Roma tomatoes, and 4 garlic cloves. What you'll do is on your comal, or on your griddle, however you like to say it, you're going to tatemar, you're going to char grill these until they get a nice, even golden color. And what's really beautiful about doing this is that when you start to char grill them on your comal, they sort of dance. It's like the tomatoes are excited that they're going to become salsa, if you ask me. So you're going to char all of these until they get a nice, beautiful, even toasted color. And once they do, you almost want the skin of the tomato to slightly start to burst just a little. That's how you know you're going to get all the juices from it. And so once you're done with that, you would put these in the blender. And my tip for me to use so that you can really get things going is put it Put the tomatoes at the bottom because that juice is gonna get your blender going, okay? Let that hang out in your open blender for a while. Next, this is what you're going to put on the comal, same comal. And we would be doing this like on medium heat, okay? You have here peppercorns. Look at that, you see that? Whole peppercorns, laurel leaves, bay leaves, laurel, bay leaves. We have sesame seeds. These really jump up and down when you start toasting them. So you would probably spend less time toasting these than you would with your tomato and onion. Next we have tapitas, pumpkin seeds. Look at how beautiful. And then you would get a California pepper. Now, before you toast this, you can take the stem off and throw. Hear that? There's a lot of seeds in there. We don't want these seeds going into the salsa because then it'll be a little too thick. It won't really be enjoyable. So you would, take the stem off, throw out the seeds from the inside, just throw them away. And then you can start to toast this. That way, by the time it's a nice, even golden color, you throw it in the blender. You don't have to worry about the seeds. You don't have to worry about dealing with a hot pepper, right? Hot temperature-wise, not spicy-wise. And when you're toasting this, make sure to not burn it because it'll get quite a bitter taste. You just want a nice, even golden toasted color. So then all that's gonna get toasted. Once they have the even, beautiful color, you add that to the blender as well. Another tip I have for you for that really delicious flavor is if you want to get like a splash of the chicken broth, throw that in there, blend it up, and then you'll be left with this beautiful texture. Some people like to run it through a colander, a colador. I personally want to give you this advice. You want this to be a thicker sauce. And let me tell you why. If it's too thin and too runny, it's just going to absorb into the masa, which will taste good. Don't get me wrong, but when you open your tamal to eat it, you want to see that beautiful, bright salsa. I'm going to give you another tip too. What gives it this beautiful color? Yes, there's tomato. Yes, there's California pepper, but there's something else. Look. I wish you could smell this. It's achiote paste or powder, polvo. Okay, you can see that. Just look at how pigmented that is. And so that's what gives this salsa a really bright color. So again, you can get this at Northgate. It's the powder, achiote. And so what I do, you don't toast the powder now. What you do is in your blender, once you have all the ingredients nice and toasted, throw a tablespoon or two of this in there, blend it up, add a splash of chicken broth if you need to get things going. And then you're gonna have this beautiful, delicious, fragrant salsa for your tamales. And let me tell you something. I did disclose to you at the beginning of class that I am Salvi-Mex. I'm half Mexican-American, half Salvadorian-American. And although my mom is Salvadorian-American, after being married to my Mexican-American father for so many years, she has a really Salvi-Mex style of cooking. So we're like toasting these ingredients. And she's like, mija, y si le echamos un jalapeño? And I'm like, Mom, this is a Salvadoran tamal. Like, that's not part of the recipe. But that's just something that we really do. Like, sometimes when we make panes con pollo, that's another holiday food that we Salvadorians enjoy. She's like, come on, let's throw a jalapeno or two into the sauce. So what I mean to say by that is make it your own. If you like things spicier, throw in the jalapeno, throw in the serrano, yum. It might be really tasty. But of course, we don't want to overpower the other flavors. So it's up to you. And so now we have the first two parts of the recipe. We have the chicken, it's already shredded. We have this beautiful, fragrant salsa. I really, really wish you could smell it. It smells so good. And then next you would make the masa. Now, the interesting thing about a Salvadorian tamal is that the masa is cooked before you even assemble the tamal. How incredible is that? So how do we cook this masa? We're so used to, I personally, when it comes to Mexican tamales, I'm used to spreading raw masa across my corn husk, for example, and then it cooks in the steamer. But this masa is already cooked. So what I did here, I got the Northgate Masa Preparada, okay? And all the chicken broth from when I made this chicken got put into the masa to sort of like can I say, like, make it a little thinner, or like, if that makes sense. And then I add it, and then it gives it flavor too, right? That chicken broth flavor. Then you have these little packets right here. I also got from Northgate. You have onion powder, garlic powder. And then you sort of just stir all that up. Now, what you would do is on like a big pot, you would, after adding the onion powder, garlic powder, chicken broth to the masa preparada, in a bowl, you're mixing it up really good with your hands. In a big pot, add, coat it evenly with a splash of olive oil. You may not need it because this masa preparada really has everything you already need in it. And then what you're going to do, you're going to stir and stir and stir like you never have before. So if your baby daddy is home, your tío, your father, your brother, whoever is there, if someone likes to show off their muscles and be flexing all the time, put them to work. Make them stir it. Because in my family, that's something that we usually put the men to do. They stir the masa because you don't want it to get clumpy, all right? And if you don't stir consistently, it very well may get clumpy. Okay, so you're gonna be stirring it, and you're gonna see it change texture. It's gonna start very runny, and then it's going to start to thicken up. I'm gonna make a confession to you guys, okay? So I cannot be left alone with this masa. Like, I cannot be put on stirring duty because it tastes so good to me, and it's already cooked, right? So I could eat this like if it was baby food. Like, there's been times when my suegra's like, Mija, yeah, like, you have eaten enough. I'm worried about you. So it's really good. That's why I'm not in charge of stirring it. But and then you're gonna get. I'm just giving you my life story, right, about my secret obsession with eating Salvadoran masa. But once you're done, you're gonna get this texture. And this has been out just a little bit, but it's gonna be kind of like baby food, kind of like pancake batter, almost like frosting. I think those are some great ways to compare it. And that's how you're gonna know when it's ready. When it gets that thickened texture and it's spreadable, you're gonna be good to go. Now that I've gone over the elements of the tamal, I'm gonna start assembling one. But before I do that, are there any questions?
I don't have any here.
All right, sounds good. So before I demonstrate, you would spread the masa evenly across the banana leaf. You would kind of make an indentation in the masa, and I'll narrate all of this again when I demonstrate. You're gonna put the chicken, and then these are some of the other things you're gonna put. Like I said, olives, garbanzo beans, which were peeled. How much love goes into Salvadorian tamales, man? Tamales, excuse me. And then we have potatoes. So these potatoes are raw. And this is a tip from my suegra that I'm gonna share with y'all. Because you guys, I got a good one, okay? I got a good suegra. She shares her recipes with me. She shares her tips with me. She's nice, okay? Que Diosito me la bendiga, honestly. I'm so grateful to have a good one. So what she says is you put a raw potato into the tamal, raw potato slice. And you'll know that they're done cooking when the potato is cooked. Because, you don't want them overcooked. You don't want them undercooked. And if you think about it, a lot of the things are already cooked. The masa's cooked, the chicken. So that's a great tip from my suegra to me, to you. I hope that helps you when you're making tamales. And without further ado, let's assemble this baby, shall we? So to the person who asked me how long the masa can be sitting out, you definitely want it to be warmer. So I'm kind of going to the bottom where it's still warm. Okay. I'm gonna put it here. Let me see if I can get a little closer to y'all. Let me just sort of make some room here so that the assembly of the tamal can be the star of the show.
Bernie, so it is the banana leaf cooked, or is it just
Gosh,
raw?
thank you. How could I forget about the banana leaf? Great question. It does look a little cooked, doesn't it? So I'm sorry, I just had to taste some of that masa. It's so good. Okay, so this is how you handle your banana leaves. Great question, and thank you for reminding me of that. You want to wash them really well. You want to cut them. So as you can see here, I have my banana leaves sort of cut. I have a sheet of foil underneath it. There's a couple of things you can do to make them pliable, to make them easy to work with. They're gonna get steamed when you cook them, right? And once they're steamed, they're very, very pliable, a little too soft. Some people can lightly steam them. My mom shared this great advice with me today, and I want to share it with you because the senoras, man, the senoras are the ones who are experts in the kitchen. What you can do, you can wash them and put them in the sun, and the sun will really soften them up for you. Now, it's wintertime and the days are short. I think the winter solstice was just yesterday, shortest day of the year. So sometimes there's not a lot of sun. What you can do is on your comal, lightly, kind of like when you just heat up a tortilla. You know what I'm saying? For example, I'll heat up a tortilla before I make enchiladas to make it easier, more pliable, easier to roll. Same concept with the banana leaf. I sort of just, on a hot comal, put it on there, and it makes it a lot easier to work with. And I'm gonna grab a banana leaf that I haven't done that too. So you can sort of see, after you wash them, after they've been soaking in water for a little bit too, they get a little more pliable. But putting them on the comal for a little bit does help as well. So great question. That's how you prepare your banana leaves. So lots of preparation to make Salvadorian tamales. Am I right or am I right? Now, another tip I have for you is everything that you're gonna be using to assemble this, keep it at arm's length, because you don't wanna be going over here for the salsa, then it dribbles all the way. You know, you make a mess. There's enough cleanup to do, right? So I have everything at arm's length. And you can, yeah, you can see it, all right? Great. I'll move this out of the way. So as you can see here, I have my banana leaf, I have my masa in the middle. And what I'm gonna do, you can spread it with a spoon, you can spread it with a spatula, and I'm gonna kind of make an indentation in the middle. I don't know if you can see that. And I'm going to put my shredded chicken. I'm such an antojosa right now. Like I literally want to be nibbling on this chicken as I prepare the tamal. Now I'm gonna get my slice of potato, stick that in there, put a couple of garbanzo beans. Literally, I could like pop a garbanzo bean in my mouth and all of it. It's also tasty. And as tasty as it is on its own, you can imagine how much more delicious it is once it comes together. Okay, so here I have my shredded chicken. I have my potato, my garbanzo beans, my olives. Now I'm gonna top it off with this delicious salsa. Let me move this so that you guys can really, really see. Too much. Here we go. And I'm just gonna pour that. Wow, look at how beautiful. Okay, and so the way you roll this, and I'm laughing because of the example I'm about to give you. The best advice I can give you to roll this is it's like rolling a burrito. And this is what I mean by that. Okay. I'm gonna get the more pliable side. It really is. So if we have any Mexicans, Mexican Americans in the class tonight, this is what it's like. So I rolled that nice and tight, okay? Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my foil in here and make the foil really, really tight. And so you can see here is my fold of the foil. This is a tip for my suegra. I'm telling you, I'm so blessed to be surrounded by all these senoras, man, with years of cooking experience. What you're gonna do is sort of pinch here. And by pinching here, you're gonna ensure that the masa doesn't glide out of your tamal when you're cooking it. So it doesn't matter if I put it this way or this way. I pinched it. The foil, the banana leaf are supporting the tamal. And now my seam is here. So these little flaps, I'm gonna fold towards the seam. And it's like a little burrito. And that's why I was laughing, because I would compare it to rolling a burrito, being half Mexican and all. So I'm gonna do that one more time so that you all can see. And, you know, work with the banana leaf, make it work for you. So I'm kind of looking at it. I'm like, okay, which way would be easier to fold? Let's try this way. Okay. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Any questions as I'm rolling? Okay. So we got our masa here. And like I said, I made, you know, we have an hour together tonight to go over 3 recipes. That's why I made this masa ahead of time. But if you can make the masa and use it fresh, it's gonna be a lot easier for you to work with. See, I'm kind of almost warming it up with my hands here. Oh, but it tastes amazing. It's gonna cook beautifully. Let's make sure you can see that. So I have my shredded chicken. And I'm kind of putting that in the masa so that we make that indent into the masa. I have my garbanzo beans. Yummy, yummy. My olives. I'm kind of, you know, putting 3 garbanzo beans, 2 olives. I'm having fun with it. I personally like garbanzo beans, so I'm putting quite a bit. I have my potato slice. And now, oh, it smells so good. I wish you guys could smell this. I'm gonna just put my little salsa here. Wow, how beautiful. Another tip I have for the salsa for you that I want to share is that once you blend it, if you feel like you want it to be a little thicker, because like I said, you want it thick so that it doesn't just seep through into the masa. You can put it in a little pot like this and put it on low flame on the stove, stir constantly, and it will thicken it up as well. Okay, so I got my tamal, my banana leaf, runaway olive, stick that back in there. And we're just gonna roll it up. Now I got my foil. And what this foil is doing is really supporting my banana leaf. So my banana leaf is going to give this tamal an amazing flavor. And then my foil is gonna keep it all secure. So here's the seam. I have this facing up. Right here at the edges, I'm gonna pinch it. And now, fold, like a burrito. So that's really it. I know it sounds like a lot of steps, but trust me, it's worth it. It's so delicious. Are there any questions? Would you guys like to see me fold another one? How we're doing here?
Don't have any questions.
Okay, well, I steamed some tamales before class started. And I'm really excited to taste one right now. Let me show you what it looks like once it's been cooked. I'm so excited. So look at how the banana leaf has changed. Let me actually dispose of the foil here. Look at how the color of the banana leaf has changed. Amazing. This smells so good. I wish there was like smell-o-vision or something.
They look delicious.
Right? So you can see the plantain leaf has completely changed after steaming the tamales. And this smells like all the ingredients we just talked about. The achiote paste, the sesame seeds, the peppercorns, the pepita, the California pepper, the Roma tomatoes, the garlic, the onion, the garbanzo beans, the potato, the olives, and of course that delicious chicken broth that we made with parsley, celery, Mexican oregano, thyme, more garlic, more onion. Oh my gosh. It smells like Christmas to me. Look at that. Cooked to perfection. So I'm going to do the very difficult and noble work of tasting this for y'all. Since the masa was cooked before we steamed it, and like I said, it has this gooey, delicious texture, it's just even tastier, even more tender, and the potatoes cooked perfectly. Okay, I'm gonna stop before I eat this whole tamal because we have other recipes to get to. I really could eat that whole thing right now, actually. So that was Salvadorian Tamales. We're doing great on time. Do you have any questions before I move on to the next recipe?
Yes, we do. Let's see. How long did you steam them, especially since you're pre-cooked the masa?
Great question. So Your gauge is going to be to steam it until the potato is cooked. I would say an hour to 2, depending also on how many you make. I like to make a lot of it at a time, so it'll take me about 2 hours. Now, these that I just prepared for class, I'm gonna cook these babies. They're not gonna go to waste. I may use the rest of the ingredients. I might have like a dozen, maybe 2 dozen. Those I'll just cook for an hour because it's less, so they're gonna cook a little more evenly, a little more quickly. Speaking of cooking, when you do cook them, if you have any leftover, banana leaves, if you have any leftover banana leaves, you can put them on top, and that'll really insulate the steam and keep it inside so that you can really get the flavor from the banana leaf into your tamales. Great question, yeah. So you would want to cook it an hour or 2, depending on how much time you have.
And you are making some people very hungry. They're loving it.
Listen, I'm about to burn my my very special videographer here. I just took the tamal off the camera, and guess who's eating the tamal? My videographer. Wow, the betrayal, huh? All I ask for is loyalty. Just kidding. But I don't blame him. It's really hard to resist. Okay, so next up we have the ensalada navideña. So fun fact about me, and it's something that I really am proud of, is that I am a second-generation food entrepreneur. When I was growing up, my mom owned and operated a panaderia in Inglewood. So my mom knows a thing or two about sweets. And this ensalada navideña is something that she made every Christmas. And when I was, talking about this class with Northgate, I got really excited about this because it really reminds me of my childhood. Much like the tamales. I'd be lying if I said the tamales didn't either. So what we're gonna use, here are the ingredients. We get about 4 apples. I really wish I knew how to juggle right now. I would juggle them for you, but I don't. So we chopped up the apples, okay? I squeezed a little bit of lemon juice on them so that they wouldn't brown. And since you have other ingredients to prepare, I recommend you do the same. Just a little lime juice, lemon juice. Another thing you could do to preserve them so that they don't oxidize is add salt. But since this is a sweet dish, I'm worried that the salt might mess with it. So lime juice, lemon juice, you're good. And just very light. I cut these about an hour before class started, these apples, and they haven't gone down yet. You also want to peel them. Okay. What else have we got here? We have leche condensada, condensed milk, yummy. In here, my very festive Christmas bowls, we have raisins, shredded coconut, and mini marshmallows. Check that out. I minced a celery. It's gonna really give it a crunch. And it's funny because the great thing about celery is that you can put in a potato salad that's gonna complement it and not overpower. Similarly, you can put it in this, ensalada navideña, which is very much like an ambrosia salad, and it's not going to overpower it. Even though celery is not sweet, it's going to give it that crunch. It's going to just really complement all of the other sweet flavors really well. And finally, you're going to use chopped pineapple. Now, if you're like me, I love me some kitchen hacks. I just use canned pineapple. It's no big deal. And I have it here. See, you can also add pecans or walnuts. I want to enjoy these with my mama. I want to enjoy this with my mama after class is done, and she has a nut allergy, so I'm not making it with the nuts tonight. But you can definitely use pecans or walnuts if you eat nuts. Also, you're going to mix some Greek yogurt. Try to use unflavored Greek yogurt. If you have like a sweet strawberry yogurt, it may, take away from the other flavors. So this unsweetened Greek yogurt, there's plenty of sweetness going on here. This is really going to let the other flavors come to life. And I also have Mexican sour cream, Mexican crema, sin sal, without salt. This is a sweet dish. And finally, we're going to be using mint leaves, hierbabuena, and some canned cherries that are in that sweet syrup with the pits removed. And I'll show you we're gonna do something really special with that after, and I'll show you shortly. Okay, What I'm going to do is I'm going to mix all of the fruit, coconut, marshmallows. I'm going to toss them into my dish here. See if you can see that. So I have my apples, my celery. Oh, it's going to have such a nice crunch. Next, we have the raisins. I feel like raisins are like such a, they remind me of winter, both with this salad and then if you make like arroz con leche con pasas. Just makes me think of those types of dishes that you enjoy this time of year. Okay, so we have the raisins. Next, we have the mini marshmallows. And we're gonna actually use all of them. And the amount you're using, it will say on the recipe that's emailed to you at the end of class. We're using about half a cup of mini marshmallows, half a cup of raisins, half a cup of the shredded coconut, 4 apples that have been peeled and diced. And I used like half a stalk of celery, just because I do want that crunch, but I want to taste the other stuff in here too. Okay, so I've got that. And I'm just going to very evenly mix this together. Nice. Ooh. I can already start smelling everything come together really nicely. I want to get that out of the way. Have my towel here to wipe my hands. Y me lavé las manos before class started, okay? Don't you worry. Now I'm going to add some of the chopped pineapple. I'm not going to use the whole can. It's a pretty even ratio, about half a cup. Okay. And in another bowl, let me see if I can get a better mixing bowl than this one. It's okay, we'll just use this one. We're gonna use the condensed milk. I have about 1 can here, which is about 1.5 cups. Okay. Here we go. The Greek yogurt and the crema. And so what we're going to do, we're going to mix this together so that it makes this really nice cream that's going to evenly coat all of the fruit, the raisins in our ambrosia salad. And we have our Mexican crema, like I said, sin sal. Okay. So we have, put this to the side. Oh. I think we have a connection issue here. There we go. Am I back? There's a little bit of a connection issue there. I think I fixed it.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Don't want to lose you guys there. Okay, so I'm going to mix this all up together. And once it's evenly mixed, evenly incorporated, I'm going to fold it into those other ingredients I have here. And I might use a rubber spatula to mix it. Okay. I'm mixing the pineapple. Let's see here. I'm mixing the pineapple here in with my shredded coconut, my mini marshmallows. And now we're mixing this cream because it would not be ambrosia salad if it didn't have this cream. That's covering everything so evenly, so beautifully. You can use a whisk. I'm using a spoon. The point is, whatever you need to do to make it all fit together, you do it. It's going to have this really beautiful, look at that, really beautiful texture that's going to coat everything. And so while I mix this up, are there any questions?
No, I don't have anything yet,
All righty.
but it looks delicious.
It's really good, especially like, you know, if you have savory tamales, you know, in my home, it depends who I'm hanging out with. If I'm hanging out with my in-laws, we have the Salvadorian Tamales. We also have panes con pollo or pavo, depending. And then, you know, on my Mexican side of my family, we will have like tamales de carne con chile. We'll have some menudo blanco from Sonora. So if you eat those really savory foods and then eat something sweet like this after, oh, it's just the best. So that's the texture you want. Do you see that? It's all evenly incorporated. There's no lumps. If I run my spoon through it, the crema, the yogurt, and the condensed milk have all come together. Fun fact, do you know that yogurt is high in protein? Greek yogurt, that is. So will this make me buff? I don't know. All right, so I'm gonna just pour this cream. Let's do it this way so you guys can see. Pour it in there. Make sure we get it all there. Oh my gosh, this smells so good. Okay. And now with my rubber spatula, I'm gonna fold this all in, and my goal is to evenly, you can put that in the sink, to evenly coat this. And it should not be runny. The perfect ensalada navideña, this ambrosia salad, everything's gonna be perfectly mixed together so that when you get a spoonful, you're gonna get a little bit of the pineapple, a little bit of the apple, some raisins, some mini marshmallows, some shredded coconut, even the celery. Oh, look at how beautiful. Can you see? Simply gorgeous. Now, I'm going to show you how to make this really have the Christmas spirit. So we have here our yerba buena, our cherries. These came in a jar, like in that juice. Like, I don't want to sound like a borracha, but if you ever make a tequila sunrise, you would use the, the juice from this jar of cherry, orange juice and tequila. So I have these cherries here without the juice. I just want the cherries. And I have here my yerba buena. Now, the way I chose these leaves is, these are from Northgate. You get this big bushel of yerba buena, of mint. You're gonna sort of just get the leaf, look for the really pretty leaves. It's actually pretty relaxing to do this. Trust me, with a 4-month-old, around the holidays, I could use all the relaxing that I can get. And so you're really just gonna, smells so good. Really look for the beautiful leaves. Okay? And now what I'm going to do is, I'll bring it up to the camera when I'm done. So pretty. And it's just a way to really have that holiday cheer. I know this year it's been unpredictable. It's been difficult for some people. But it doesn't make this time of year any less special. I mean, Christmas is a beautiful, wonderful time of year. And whatever we can do to really get that holiday spirit, that Christmas cheer, let's do it. And so see, there's one. Do you see the mint leaf and the cherry, how it looks very Christmassy with mistletoe? I'm gonna do a couple more. And by the time I'm done, this ensalada navideña is gonna be decorated with these, and it's just gonna look so pretty. It's gonna smell amazing between the sweetness and the mint leaf, and oh, I can't wait for you guys to see how it looks. And this is fun. Like if you have small children, this is something that they can do with you, because I was a metiche when I was growing up. I was always like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Can I help? Can I help? And in the kitchen, sometimes it can be a little dangerous for children if you're working over an open flame or chopping stuff with like a meat cleaver or a sharp knife. So something like this is really great if your children are interested in helping you out in the kitchen, because it is nice. If I hadn't been so curious in the kitchen, if my mom hadn't been so encouraging, I may not have my cookbook now. I remember she would make pupusas. She'd give me a piece of masa to play with. Oh, that masa, I would run it through my hands and I'd go crazy with it. But it made me feel included. And those are memories that stay with you forever. Let's put this really beautiful, really fresh sprig of mint right here in the middle. And for this one, I'm gonna put 2 cherries just to make it look extra nice. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. Maybe put a little extra mint leaf here. This one's really pretty. And look at that. Look at how festive. Look at how pretty. It's gonna taste good. Beautiful. It looks really nice. Thank you. Even if you're having a virtual get-together, si todavía quieres presumir a tu cuñada, la tóxica, just kidding. But if you do want to presumir to your friends, this is a great great dish. It tastes good. It's really festive. And I mean, you guys saw me do it just right now. It took what, like 2 minutes, but that extra bit of time made this dish so much more presentable. And in addition to being presentable, it tastes really good. So I'm actually going to, I can't resist. I have to taste it. Let's see here.
You need to taste it before your videographer eats it all.
Te quemaron. I love it. It's true though. So let me tell you, you get the soft marshmallow, the crunch of the celery or the apple, and then the texture of the raisin, and all that cream with the shredded coconut and the fragrance of the mint. Wow. I have a new appreciation for this. I know I liked it as a child, but wow, I really appreciate all these flavors right now. It tastes delicious. I'm going to eat that as soon as class is done. Wow, that's really yummy. Y mira, ahí llega el videographer a quitármelo. Wow, I'm just kidding. Okay, and we're doing fantastic on time. So now I'm going to show you the ponche navideño. Before I do that, were there any questions on the ambrosia salad?
No, I think we're ready to go.
Awesome. Let me just make sure these things are in the frame for you. So what do we have here? We have vanilla, condensed milk, orange zest, thank you, sugar, normal milk. I'm just gonna put this orange here because it looks pretty. We have ground cinnamon, ground nutmeg, and it's the holidays, right? We have either brandy or rum. You put whatever you like, just probably not both, but put one of whichever you like into this ponche de leche, which is very much like an eggnog. Okay, and have my bowl to whisk. Alrighty. We have about 12 minutes left with each other for the evening. I had anticipated that, so I made some ponche here. I haven't tasted that one yet, so I'm really excited to taste it. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to do a little bit of multitasking here, okay? You're going to have on in your pot, yes, in your pot, you're going to put your condensed milk, which by the way, this is like another holiday ingredient. I feel like there's so many recipes that call for condensed milk this time of year. And it's so delicious. I could literally that's just so good. So we have condensed milk. You're gonna add about a cup and a half. You can like throw in the whole can. A teaspoon of vanilla, a dash of cinnamon, a dash of nutmeg, about a teaspoon of your orange zest. I zested like half an orange. Half is here and the other half is in the ponche that I made earlier. And some milk, about a cup or two of milk. So you would put that all to simmer on your stovetop, okay? While you do that, you're gonna get another 2 cups of milk and put that so that it's warm, it's hot. And while all that is working for you, this is what we're gonna do. Like I said, this is like an eggnog. We're gonna use the yolks of the eggs. So, oh my gosh, I feel like this is an ultimate kitchen skill. Can you separate egg whites from egg yolks? Beautiful. So we're gonna reserve the egg whites. You can use them to make an omelet, whatever you like to use, make a meringue, whatever you like to make with them, but we're gonna use the yolks for the eggnog tonight, for the ponche de leche. So we're gonna throw 1 egg yolk in there. And I'm reserving the egg whites. I might make something with them after. Runaway egg here. All right. So we're gonna use a total of 3 egg yolks. Oh, beautiful. I got these eggs at Northgate. They're organic. They're free range, which is the type of stuff I like to consume, especially because, you know, I want to be here for the long haul for my little guy. And you know, when I went to Northgate, they had their Piñata Hits playlist playing. I don't have it here. It was kind of hard to play it. I wanted you guys to be able to hear me and also hear the music. I think the acoustics in here are a little funny, but let me tell you, at my Christmas Eve party with me, myself, and I, and my son and my husband, because let's be honest, we celebrate the 24th. When we're celebrating Christmas Eve, I'm gonna be bumping that playlist so that it can just really feel like those Christmases that I grew up with. You know, they have those songs that I'm like, oh, that reminds me when I was small and my fields would be all acting crazy. Okay, so we've got our 3 egg yolks in here. Okay, we're gonna get 2 tablespoons of sugar. Where am I eyeballing it here? And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to whisk. Oh, it's already looking so pretty. I'm gonna whisk this all together. Now, if you have like a mixer, you can do that too. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be pouring hot milk in here. So, you know, with a mixer, there's a little bit of a possibility of splashing, which I'm not trying to have happen to me on a live video. If you're careful, it won't happen. You just gotta pour it nice and slow. But I'm just doing it by hand here so that if you don't have a mixer, you know, you can do it too. And what you want to do, you want to fully incorporate the sugar into the egg yolk mixture. This is what makes it eggnog-ish, right? This is what makes our concha de leche. This leche that we're going to mix into these egg yolks. Let's see how the temperature is here. Still hot, but, you know, I can handle it, right? Like, I don't need to wear gloves or anything. Don't burn yourself, you guys, making this. So I'm just going to slowly pour this in here. And thank you. I really want to see what this texture is going to be like. I want to show you what this texture is going to be like when we finish. You see, I'm just taking my time. And so this is why I suggested multitasking. While I'm slowly doing all this, this is simmering for me. See what I mean? Little bit at a time. Let's kind of move that over here. It's just that little bit of milk that kind of collects at the top. And you can already see I'm not even done adding all of the milk yet. You have this really pretty frothy texture. It changed in color as well. And the key is to whisk and slowly incorporate. Whisk and slowly incorporate. So as I do this, are there any other questions?
No, I think we're all paying such good attention. That looks delicious already.
Gold stars for everyone. Wow. Okay. Remember, don't be shy with asking questions. Questions are how we all learn. And so this changed color both because of, you know, we're mixing the sugar, the egg yolk, the milk. It's changing in texture as well. Beautiful, so beautiful. This is remember, you know, you're having these ingredients here simmering, and once you've fully incorporated this, it's frothy, it's bubbly. I can drink this right now, but there's raw egg yolks in there. Reminds me of like Rocky or something. So once you have this all set, and you have that beautiful texture, see? Let's see if you can see more like that. Do you see that? It's frothy. It's changed in color. What you're going to do is you're going to add it to all these ingredients that have been simmering. Okay, you would add it to this and then let it simmer again, because remember that's egg yolks in there. And then what you would have, let me get my spoon here, is a really, oh my gosh, it's just this really beautiful texture. It's like a drink, but it's very reminiscent. I mean, it is a drink, but it's very reminiscent of a custard. There's just that slight custardy texture to it, and it's so good. Can you hand me a mug, please, so that I can pour some in here? I've got to try this for y'all. Yeah, it's fine like that.
So do you add the alcohol at the end or?
Very good question. Yes, add it right as you serve, because you know you don't want the alcohol to evaporate, right? If you want to get a good buzz going on, you would serve. Okay, so let me come over here. I'm gonna pour myself a glass. Oh my goodness, this texture. And then the fragrance of the nutmeg, the cinnamon. Wow. My compadre really likes eggnog. Shout out to my compa. I'm gonna have to make a batch for him and send it to him contactless. Wow. It's so good. I remember back in the days, I used to be like, eggnog, ew, I don't drink eggs. I'm not Rocky. But this ponche de leche, it's so good. The condensed milk just is so sweet, along with, like I said, with the spices of nutmeg and cinnamon. You have the vanilla in there, the orange zest. And so what the egg yolks do, this doesn't taste like egg. What the egg yolks do is that it really adds this beautiful texture to the drink. And now that you've served it in your mug, all nice and warm, calientito, then you can add 2 ounces or an ounce, a shot, a double shot or 1 shot. You can add your drink to it there and just stir it in. Now, remember, if it's warm right off of here, it's gonna just melt in there. And that way you have the option of having the ponche with or without alcohol. If you make a big batch for the family, they can add their preferred liquor if they choose to drink it with liquor, because you know, some people like brandy, some people like rum, some people may not want any alcohol in it at all. And there you have it. I really wish you guys could taste this. But remember, if you do make any of the recipes that we went over tonight, let us know. Tag Northgate Market on Instagram. You can tag me on Instagram. I'm at Herencia_cookbook. We would love to see the recipes that you come up with. Maybe you're waiting until the 24th or the 25th to make them. And we'd really love to see what you create. And you know, don't be afraid to make it your own. The powdered stuff is really good because it dissolves in there. If you really like cinnamon, you can throw the whole cinnamon stick in there and then fish it out right before you serve. That's great too. Or you can use a cinnamon stick. Like if you make this with ground cinnamon, excuse me, you could put a fresh cinnamon stick in here to garnish it, to kind of make it look, you know, like I said, presentation wise. You can get like a little twist of orange peel and put that in there for a garnish as well. Like I said, really make it your own, be festive, because, you know, I don't want us to forget there's still a lot to celebrate this year. And like I said, Christmas is a really magical time of year, and why not celebrate with some ponche de leche, some ensalada navideña, and the Salvadorian Tamales. Am I right or am I right? So before we wrap this up, are there any other questions just about these recipes or anything we talked about tonight?
No, wow. I don't see any.
All righty.
Bernie, thank you so much. So today is our last tamale class series. Yeah, tomorrow we do have the last kids tamale class. So it's in the morning. Actually, it's the only morning class we're having. It's at 10 a.m. and it's not too late to sign up your children. Also, Lizette will be sending you guys a survey and also the recording of this class. And we are so happy to start gathering what you guys want to hear us cook, because we're already starting our Super Bowl classes for next year. So very excited. We lost you, Bernie, and we do have some questions. Hold up, Bernie. Thank you so much from Margarita Castaneda. And from Adriana, thank you, Bernie. It looks wonderful. I can't wait to try some of these recipes. So,
awesome. Thank you so much for the feedback.
So, yes, so please try these recipes, tag us. We look forward to seeing what you guys make at home. And from Northgate, have a very, very Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to all of you. We want to wish you all Happy New Year. And I also, to piggyback off of what Teresa said, I just really want to thank you all for taking an hour of your time to learn these recipes with us, because these recipes are really personal to me. I'm really grateful to Northgate for providing this platform for us all to learn together. So thank you so much, all of you. I hope you have an amazing Christmas and a great New Year. Here's to 2021, right? And pues sí, buenas noches.
Bye.
Bye.